streaks, but it's because he consistently tries to get the edge in those mirror-ish matchups.
Watch your back.
Right, it is going to... Talking of which, going to be a neophyte mirror. What has Dimitri added? Is that... What is that on the left? My instinct was it was an elephant, but I'm not so sure now.
It is. It looks like an elephant. He's got his guitar, he's got his hat stand, he's got his hat that's not on the hat stand. He's got his house, he's got his statue, and now he has an elephant. Well done. Really throwing us for a loop there.
The elephant is smaller than the people.
Small elephant. Or big people. One of the two.
What's the baby elephant called? Is it a calf?
I think it is, yes.
Cool. Right. DimitriKazov taken care of for the day. Now we can get back to the Hearthstone.
Yeah. The first 2 minutes of every DimitriKazov series is spent analyzing his updated rune state. Not the same for DreadEye, because he's always got the blinds behind him. Very consistent, even going back to the Masters tour that he competed at, that qualified him to Grandmasters. It was just the blinds behind him. Never changed the scenery. Gotta appreciate
every time he wins $500 or a point, he buys a new item for his house.
That we never get to see.
Unless
or we do.
Elephant.
Maybe he just adds another blind to his window.
Oh, I see.
That's
like exactly the same.
Yeah, something for you to count next season.
What, the number of gaps in the blind? Oh my goodness.
All right.
Right.
So
Hearthstone has happened for 3 turns. We haven't paid attention to any of it, mainly because nothing happens for 3 turns in Rogue Mirrors against Warlocks.
Rogue Mirrors against Warlocks. Yep. 100% agree. 100% agree. This matchup plays out very similarly to what you'd expect from normal Handlock versus Garrote Rogue. You're looking for those big swing turns as the Warlock, where you get big threats on the board, and hopefully a Cult Neophyte alongside it as well, to force your opponent to have to clean things up and also to execute their win condition, right? As much power plus disruption as possible. This version of the deck with the Altar Fires also has the added benefit of, at a certain point in the game, you have the chance to remove a Garrote from the deck. Mm-hmm. There are some other big hits along the way, right? If your opponent has already used a Field Contact or an Octobot, hitting the second one is quite a big deal. Hitting multiple forms of spell damage, whether they be in the form of a Ethereal Augmerchant or a Shadow Step, are also big deals. As the Rogue, you kind of have to just ignore the fact that Altar Fire is there, right? In a lot of cases.
Yes.
Because 1, you never know when it's going to come out, and 2, when it does, there's not really a way you can hold on to resources or do anything to play around the possibility of it. Because even if it gets down to like your last 3 cards, you can't control what those cards are. So you just act like it's not there, and then hope that when it comes out, if it does, that it doesn't hit anything important.
Yeah, the problem is that, like you just listed quite a lot, that everything's important. Because there's always a combo of 2 things you can hit that helps. Yeah, he's just launching it now, see what happens. No nearby.
Okay, oops. Field Contact and Ethereal Augmerchant. That is reasonable. That is one source of draw gone for Dimitri, as well as the Ethereal Augmerchant. The Field Contact ends up not being as big of a deal, just because the nature of Altar Fire, it's essentially drawing those 3 cards for your opponent. So it's like the first Field Contact only drew 2 cards. That's what it is. But it's still thinning the deck out. So as long as you're not hitting Garrote or like both spell damage, the combo's still intact, and now Dimitri's deeper into his deck.
There is, however, just one small downside of playing it early like that. I don't think it covers all the upsides. I think it's correct to play it. But now Dimitri knows he's lost spell damage. He can play with his Shadow Steps more carefully. Whereas if it's played at the end and you don't know which 3 cards are going to get burned, you sort of can't play around anything. Well, now he knows one of the 3 cards are getting burned. He knows he's going to lose spell damage. So he knows to look after these Shadow Steps, which he wouldn't have known otherwise. Again, I don't think that's a big deal from DreadEye's part, but it is something Dimitri can work with.
He's already at 10 cards. Holy moly! Turn 6.
So quick.
10 cards left in the deck. Insane. Incredible amount of draw. It's got a little bit of removal here, and can get the Flesh Giant down as well. So this game has accelerated. That's what Altar Fire does. It accelerates the game quite extensively for both players, not just for one.
So it alters the course of the game.
It does, yeah. It alters it fast like fire. I don't know.
Yep, just like fire. That fast fire you see all the time.
Yeah. So,
okay. Dimitri is having to go pretty fast himself. And yeah, these Shadow Steps are an acknowledgement, I think, now that he's just got to win this on the board. Otherwise, he's going to die to all of those lovely things you can see on the other side.
Mm-hmm. So he can do a lot here, can Pen Flinger and then play the Golem again and then Brain Freeze the Flesh Giant to ensure that these 2 Divine Shield Golems are going to stick. And we're still pretty limited on mana for DreadEye. So, like, he can't just clear up everything. There's a touch. He can clear up everything, actually.
Yeah, most of his deck's just gone, so he should be able to do things. Bump, bump. What's your favourite clear? Several of them.
Blood is my currency.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Flesh Giant's still there. It was just frozen, so still needs to be dealt with. Alright, they're all Merchant. So that's the last spell damage, is that they're all Merchant and the Shadow Step. So even though the spell damage is preserved, this is going to be pretty difficult for Dimitri. 1 field contact's gone as well. This could get quite difficult. He's also just... Battlemaster was not burned from the altar that he saw.
Right.
He knows that that's still a possibility.
A likelihood, in fact, with only 6 cards left, yeah.
Yeah.
Efficient is sufficient.
So he's got to play around it. And he's not absolutely forced to, but yeah. This is it, that's the last Shadow Step, so he now cannot win the game on spell damage without some weird Wand Thief into generating spell damage minion into, yeah, things that won't happen.
Yeah, let's go overboard again. In the passage...
He's a flinger. He's a flinger or he's dead.
Or
Not flinger, plunderer.
Yeah. He still had 2 in the deck, so that was honestly pretty likely to hit it. But not going to hit it, and just going to have to dagger. Yeah, and I think he knows it. Only 6 cards left in the deck, or 5 cards left in the deck. There'll be attack to knock it down to 4. And there it is.
Wait.
What?
Okay, cool. I didn't know how he was going to get rid of his own minion there for a minute. I forgot he could kill his own minion. Yeah.
Yeah, he could kill it or he could trade it. I mean, there was he could attack once and then trade. There was a ton of ways that he could have done that. So, takes the coolest way out, and that's 1-0 DreadEye. Takes the win in Warlock versus Garrote Rogue. I feel like we've been seeing that go the Warlock's way quite often. I think the Altar of Fire just gives it that extra layer where, again, accelerating the game and getting you closer to being able to play Bloodshard Bristlebacks and Scavengers and also having an opportunity to completely ruin your opponent's game plan. All fantastic things.
Yeah, when you see it in action, it makes you wonder why it took so long to hit Europe and America's regions, honestly. And we found that before with APAC, that sometimes they seem to be playing their own weird metagame and they're actually a long way ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
And obviously the instinctive is, when 2 regions are doing it and 2 regions aren't doing it and 1 is, you tend to think that the one that is the one that's got it wrong. But I think APAC had it right this season with that. All right, watch post time. Every day there's a Joker playing watch post now.
Yeah, get these watch posts out of here. I don't want to see any of that. I like how the key cards just don't tell you at all what the deck is. That's why it has a name. It's Deck Battle Demon Hunter, but it's kind of a hybrid. It has some semblance of a Fel package thrown in there with the Furies, with the Chaos Strikes, with the Fel Barrage. It lets it do a decent amount of damage or have like a ways to kind of refill the hand/board.
But we call it Death Battle Demon Hunter for short.
We call it Death
That was a heck of a long name you just gave it, TJ. That was like...
I mean, if you count the amount of each, right, of Fel things and Death Rattle things, there's more Death Rattle things. 2 Persistent Peddlers, Renowned Performer, Fel Rattler, 2 Ectoplasms, 2 Beastmasters, and 2 Razor Boars. I'm out of fingers. That's 11. Tusk Piercer, one of those. That's 12. Where if you look at Fel things, there's 2 Furies, 2 Fel Barrages, that's 4, 2 Chaos Strikes, that's 6, 2 Fel Gorgers, that's 8, and a Jace, that's 9. And even if you account for Illidari studies, that's 10, 11, still less.
I like the way you said that. Just made it sound like anytime you've run out of fingers, every other number is 11. Like, yeah, I'm out of fingers, that's 11. Like, it just stops there. 10 fingers, anything else, 11. That's it. How old are you? 11.
I don't know, I lost count.
What's your house number? 11.
I have socks on, so I can't even count my toes.
Zip code? 11. All right, he's keeping the posts.
You always keep the posts, let's be real here.
Uh-huh.
DreadEye's looking at it like, is this correct? It's always correct. Not the best pickups beside it, but, I mean, posts are never going to die.
That's why they're called watch posts, because the opponent just watches them. You just sit there, and you look at them for the whole game. How is he going to actually get anything going here, Dimitri?
Well, I mean, there's still things that exist, right? If he can just get a threat on board, like Far Watch Post and Crossroads Watch Post, if that's all DreadEye's playing,
Right.
just ignore them. Like, they can't attack.
But he's got another one. Oh, how long is it going to be before people actually start playing the watch post man? Like the thing that makes 5/5 in relation to how many watch posts you had? Like the really awful card, you probably forgot it existed.
Cargill, Battle Scar?
Called Watch Post Man.
Okay, gotcha. Didn't know.
Yeah, I think what you said is right.
Yeah, it was played for a little bit at the very beginning of the Watch Post meta, back when the Watch Posts were more powerful. Yeah. Right, didn't it have 4 health or something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty grim, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the little watch post? Yeah, it was 2/4, I think.
Yeah. And the other one was a 3/6, the 3-mana Watch Post? Something like that.
And they're on the
Or a
rewards
3/5. It was a
track, or they were.
3/5.
So everybody's got them because they were like really early in the rewards track. So tomorrow, after DreadEye, gets the World Championships, everyone's going to be playing watch posts on ladder.
Great.
Thanks, DreadEye. Oh, Dimitri just puts 1 damage into it.
We'll cut
I mean-
right to the chase.
Okay. Now things are getting a little tougher.
Yeah, this is how the deck's supposed to work, right? Just an ample amount of everything, mix it all together, and somehow this plops out and it looks really good. Like a really great cake.
There's not a lot of things that actually would survive just from +1/+1 a Soul Rend that are in the deck, right?
Uh-huh. Sure.
That could be a saving grace. if we look through it, like, I guess the problem is the death rattles. Like if it's Beastmaster and there's something in the hand, or Devouring Ectoplasm, whatever comes out of it. But like Fellgorger, Beastmaster, it all has like 3 health. So like Soul Rend would still clear it. So I mean, obviously it wouldn't clear the watch post itself.
You never clear the watch post itself. It just never dies, ever. It's unkillable. Like, I'm not even exaggerating by much. You definitely can kill it if you set out to build your lineup to kill watch posts, but they just don't die.
Yeah.
Insane. But you're right, the Soul Rend would actually get rid of everything else and make it a annoying time. The other thing we haven't talked about, and I don't think it was talked about in any of the other broadcasts, is how tiring it is for playing its watch posts as well. Because you constantly have to just make sure you've added everything up correctly. I know that's Hearthstone in a nutshell, but it's like it's more than usual somehow. It just gets out of control so quickly if you're not careful.
Well, there's also the fact that Glide exists. That's going to make things even more difficult for Dimitri. Mortal Coil.
So you can buff your
Useless.
opponents.
They're useless.
Mortal Coil, no, Mortal Coil, no, Ray's dead then, no. Oh, it's horrible. I think he has to backfire here. His hand's just too terrible.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Here for the tour?
Alright. Well, watch post number 2, or 3, but the 4-drop watch post number 2.
Oh my goodness gracious. Like, there's only 4 attack on board, realistically.
Yep.
But in reality, there's infinite attack on board.
So, he can drain one of the 2/2s, which would become a 3/3, and the other one would become a 3/3, and he would... No, it wouldn't become a 4/4, because there's 2 watch posts. Oh. No. Oh.
Okay, so you can get Flush Giant down and do you, at this point with 15 cards left, do you just play a Scavenger?
I think because he's got the Battle Master in hand, that's actually a good idea, because next turn he can Battle Master if he's still alive, which he might not be, and then just get rid of all this nonsense on the board and set about killing his opponent.
You get accustomed to the smell.
Like, watch posts don't care if being, you know, their friends being hit for 8.
I see.
Dimitri has the most unimpressed face on him ever. It's like, yeah, you're funny. Now put your watch posts away. All right.
It's just impossible.
He can actually live now, right? Because he can remove the one actual minion on the board and then drain something, and who cares? Yeah, they're going to get bigger. We get the game. And then play the other Flesh Giant and set up lethal. And just drain for the sake of gaining health.
Yeah.
And hope there's no Fell Barrage. Actually, he'll try and get something below his health total. The Fell Barrage doesn't kill him.
I don't think there's gonna be anything that's below his health total. He doesn't want to tap. Because no matter what, that's gonna put him in range of anything. That trade is very interesting though. Was he looking for a taunt?
Yeah.
Well, he's dead now to anything.
Wasn't the drain
Alright.
safer?
I kind of like the drain soul into anything.
The flesh giant. Yeah, the other flesh giant would have been good, right? And then that
Yeah,
actually
like-
says lethal. You've got 2 8 attack minions on the board.
So if he drain souls the 2/2, there's 3 minions on board that can attack. He goes up to 8, and then plays the other flesh giant. And then DreadEye would have needed. It would just have been a Fell Barrage or a Fury that would have ended the game.
He could have traded into the 2/2 like he did. Drained his own giant to make it an 8/2. And then the barrage wouldn't end the game because the giant would be smaller than the health total after the attack.
Okay.
That's what he was scared of. Which would have given him out. He'd still be dead to Fury, but he'd have had outs against the Fell Barrage, I think. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know if it's the right play, but it's the thing he could do.
Doesn't matter now.
Nope.
DreadEye,
Moving on to the next
final
one.
deck remaining. Quest Mage, and
Yep.
I don't think this one's looking quite good for Dimitri. DreadEye's been incredibly successful with Quest Mage thus far this season, bringing it nearly every week. Even in Conquest, it was one of the most popular last year standing decks because it's got very polarized matchups. DreadEye seems to be winning against just about everything with it, though. And we'll see if he can do that now. The 3 decks that he has to beat, one of these 3 decks is the OTK Demon Hunter, which can be quite tough. Warlock, I tend to like that matchup, but I know that that one's arguable, and the Rogue. So we'll see. I think it's a lot of close matchups across the board, but I do think that Quest Mage has a decent chance against all 3 of them.
Yep, 14-6 his record with it this season. And so we tried to handicap him and put both of his cram sessions and his arcane intellects at the bottom when he played against Muzzy, and he still won. So, you know, what can you do?
What can you do? Double Flurry Ignite is not the greatest starting hand, however.
It's pretty good.
Arcane Intellect, that makes it a whole lot better.
Launches the Ignite straight at the face. That's what you like to see. Oh my. What is this?
Oh, yeah. On the goods now.
He's having a bad mage day.
I mean, honestly, this is not terrible, right? He's got all the quest completion stuff checked off.
Yep.
And he's got a flow rolling.
Dimitri has a lot of stuff if he can warlock his way so his giants become relevant.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. But the double flurry in hand already, well, you don't want to see it now. You'd rather have card draw and things that are actually playable. Still going to be a nice to have.
Yep, absolutely. I think you're right. I think that DreadEye is in a great spot, but Dimitri, I just, with those giants, there's always a chance that something runs out on the other side and you get a chance to kill them.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, I'd want to be in DreadEye's shoes right now. Which is a weird phrase, really, isn't it? There you go.
A dump coin. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey. Oh, whoa!
His own minion.
Whoa! This is cool. All right.
Yep.
Denying the frost. Oh, this is great. I love this.
Play a giant next to it if he wants to.
Maybe you just keep waiting.
Backfire into stuff. Sure. Does he care if he burns cards? Does he want to backfire here as well? Just
I think he can just raise dead, because all it does is get back the null.
The veil wanes.
remember in the olden days when the quest just would have been complete by now. Instead, his giants cost 4, the quest's just limping along.
Yeah. Alright, does get a giant on board, and I think he's fine with this, because he delayed DreadEye's quest completion for a turn.
Yeah, and he's going to have lethal represented on board until DreadEye takes time to deal with it. Obviously, there's going to be lots of freezing, so it's not, it's not the scariest of representations of lethal, but it's going to be there for some time, because I don't think DreadEye's going to have the time to take care of multiple 8/8s and 5/4s and 6/6s.
Yeah. Oh, takes Mana Biscuit there over Fireball.
Okay, put a lot into this, but another quest line advanced.
God, he just plays this deck so fast.
He does.
I think just sinking a ping into this to prime it for first flame next turn is, or second flame next turn is adequate. He could also get the 2 mana out of the way. Oh no, he just wants to go now. Wait, oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Is spending the mana. This allows him to go Mana Biscuit, Flurry, and play the quest next turn. That's what this is for. Spending the 1 mana. Second raise hit. Oh, this is going to get back exactly Null and Flesh Giant.
He's managed this really well. This is sort of the Dimitri we were bigging up at the start. I'm going to say that now because it looks like it's not going to get much further for him this year. But the cool plays he's making here are the sort of things we've come to expect from him.
Yeah.
More bones to gnaw on.
A lot of board.
It is. Quest is going to be complete for DreadEye, though. 2 of these minions are going to be frozen. Regardless of which 2 they are, it will prevent lethal. And Quest will be online with a Cram Session in hand and an Incanter's Flow rolling.
Yeah. Cram Session very rarely misses. It's so huge after quest completion.
Also got a Mana Biscuit. There's a ton of fantastic things going on here for DreadEye. Oh, he's going to go for it now. Might as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's just pointing things at the face and pressing fire. Got the other Cram Session ready to go next turn, so that's almost certain lethal, unless Dimitri can find something very clever to do, to not only remove the 7/7, but to do a lot of healing in the process.
I just don't think there's anything he can do here.
I can't think of anything.
He can double Null to kill the Dawn Grasp.
The veil wanes.
Yeah, and hope that DreadEye has a sort of hand he had against Muzzy.
Yeah.
That's all he's got. Can't even get himself. Yeah, there's no health gain in hand, so it just makes it impossible.
Infinite.
Yeah, he used both of his touches on his Null on like turn 4 to kill it on Flurry. Oh.
And to advance the giants that he has on board pretty early, to be fair. But
Yeah.
did I have the right anti-giant hand, which Mage tends to have.
And this is going to be, very likely lethal. He needs
Super lethal.
A single damage anything.
Picks up spring water.
Oh, did you both his minions? So now it's not lethal.
Oh my goodness. Can he stop the lethal coming back the other way, TJ?
He can fire sale and first flame, so he can clear the board.
Okay. Emergency over for DreadEye. But now Dimitri can heal a bit.
He's still in so much trouble.
He is.
The play is what? Viper? Kill it? And then double scavenger?
I think you have to tap to find something better than that.
Okay, well,
That
there's
didn't
nothing
help.
better than that.
I mean, you might get another bristleback. Alright. But you're right, that's what he needs to do. Unless he wants to kill Tamsin, so he's got a lethal on the board if things can't be frozen. He can get 2 scavengers down.
You get accustomed to the smell. You get accustomed to the smell.
Yep. Goes with the TJ play.
Now it's just a matter of what he kills, whether it's the Viper or the Tamsin. Alright, DreadEye still... yep, just draws lethal off the top. Alright, whew! Got a little bit tough, seemed a little bit tough at first, but DreadEye's able to get there in a very quick series for him. Is able to take the win 3-0 against DimitriKazov, and you know, a little bit of bummer for Dimitri, right? He had a lot of dramatic moments in the final weeks of competition to make it to the playoffs. After, you know, a decent start, but some rough weeks in the middle. And so it's obviously not the best way to go out, but again, he still goes out and pressing us every step of the way. Again, bright things are in Dimitri's future if he continues along this path. But we've seen time and time again that not even a double minion in a 2-minion deck off Refreshing Springwater can stop DreadEye. Not even double Cram Session in the bottom 4 could stop DreadEye from getting wins with the Quest Mage. It just doesn't happen.
Yep, 16-6, I think that would put him up to now on the season, if I remember correctly, and I think I do. So he advances. It is good though. Dimitri makes his playoffs in his first season in GM. It feels like he's been here for a long time because of his attitude. He's engaged with us as well, and we appreciate that. Like the backdrop stuff has been fun for everybody, I think. So thank you to Dimitri for that, and look forward to seeing what he has in store for us next season. But the main event, in a lot of ways, it's the rematch between Muzzy and DreadEye will be coming up. And yeah, Muzz made